Alright, this week in Mcoc is just packed, right? There was Summoner's Choice, there was a new side event, there was the announcement of like Dust and Ironheart, and now there is a new Battleground season. So this Battleground season, honestly, looks kind of scary at first, but once you actually play it, it's really not that bad. So the first thing here is Martial Discipline. Every 5 critical hits from a skill attacker purifies all non-damaging debuffs off of them. So that's pretty good to know, because if there's like a skill champion with guaranteed crits like Mole Man or Hitmonkey, they get to benefit from this greatly. Additionally, there is Pass the Buck, where whenever the attacker gains a bar of power, you get a Power Sting debuff on you, right? But if you intercept the opponent, you put that debuff onto the opponent. So that's pretty cool, and it's just like a nice bit of extra damage, but if you don't play around it, it's just damage to you. And there's also Power Focus 1, so the opponent gets extra power when below a bar of power, but once they're above a bar of power, then they gain less power. So yeah, these victory track nodes seem kind of scary, right? Like Power Focus 1 against the like wrong champion can be really annoying, and Pass the Buck is like Power Sting, so that can also be just pretty annoying too, but we'll get to that later. But here are some notes of like just my general thoughts on this meta so far. So on top of like regular Purify characters, because Purify champions are going to be great for this, they can just get rid of the Power Sting naturally, but skill champions with like guaranteed crits or high crit rate are going to be so good for this too. So like I said, Mole Man, Hitmonkey, who else has like guaranteed crits or just high crit rate, Stealth Suit Spider-Man as well. All these champions will just like purify the Power Sting pretty easily. And also like Moondragon, Bullseye, Kitty Pryde, and Namor all ignore Power Sting to an extent. You know, Moondragon takes less damage from it, Bullseye just, you know, doesn't take any damage from it, and Namor just straight up reflects it. So yeah, pretty cool stuff there. And any champion with like Infuriate or built-in Intercept can just easily get rid of the Power Sting as well, because Infuriate makes the opponent more aggressive, so it's easier to intercept, and like built-in intercepts too, like for example Kate Bishop's mechanic, that also counts as an intercept for this Pass the Buck node. Additionally, like defenders that focus on their special attack 1 or like benefit from the opponent having a debuff, usually science characters, they will be pretty good on defense for this entire season, so just keep that in mind. But here are my additional notes. The Power Sting damage after playing it isn't that much. It's like what? I want to say sometimes 7 to 10% of your health, which can be a lot at times, right? Like, you know, Battlegrounds is all about just maintaining your health, right? But when you realize that the Power Sting is also like a great healing source too, then it just doesn't really seem that menacing, because if you take Power Sting damage from one source, you can just heal it back up from the other source. So yeah, like if you manage your healing well, then you can just try to end the fight with like full health, right? So yeah, if you manage it correctly, it can be pretty helpful to you. But I think champions that can like purify or bypass Power Sting are still really good for this. So additionally, I think the biggest worry of this meta is the Power Focus 1, because some champions with it are just lethal. Like Bishop, for example, his SP1 is like super annoying, for example, and you usually want to push him to the SP2, but with this Power Focus 1, you can't really do that too often, so it can just be very troublesome. So keep that in mind, that some characters with Power Focus 1, it's just not fun in the slightest, right? But now we have my Season 15 attackers, and like for a baseline, I think most skill champions are going to be good for this. Like potent Purify characters or high crit champions, you have Valkyrie, Shang-Chi, Chie'th, Hitmonkey, Mole Man, Crossbones, and like Stealth Suit Spider-Man. There's a lot more options for sure. Then you have like the Power Sting resistant characters, for example Moondragon, Bullseye, Kitty Pryde, and Namor. Those guys are going to be really good for it, especially like the ones that have high damage output at base, Moondragon for example, and Bullseye, who is just a powerful dual threat character. Then you have like easy intercept characters like Mantis, Hercules, Kate Bishop, Bullseye again, Mole Man, Ghost, Gallon. Just all these champions are going to be good for intercepting and just getting that power sting off immediately. So yeah, those characters are going to be really strong. Also, most champions can just work if you intercept reliably, and if you can just maybe even not use special attacks. For example, Human Torch doesn't need special attacks necessarily, so champions like him, or just pretty much anyone, if you can just play around the pass the buck node. And even if you can't play around it, you can just heal from it too. So yeah, like this meta, it does have its challenges sometimes, but also it kind of just helps you a bit too at times. So it's a bit 50-50 for sure. But now my defenders. So champions that benefit from Power Focus 1, like Hulkling, Nick Fury, Onslaught, Bullseye, Null, Ebony Maw, also Bishop, Maestro too. A lot of champions just like really benefit from this Power Focus 1, and it becomes pretty lethal for these champions especially. And champions that like benefit from like debuffs on the opponents, for example Photon, Jessica Jones, Void, all get like massive benefits if the opponent has like debuffs on them, right? So yeah, these guys are going to be pretty dang annoying too, but if you have skill characters, it won't be that bad at all really. But keep in mind that this is a skill meta, right? So some mutant champions might just be very sneaky. For example, Bishop, Toad as well is a really good one, Sauron, but also some people might have like, you know, the tech characters ready to counter them. But yeah, my defenders list, not that high, but that's pretty much it for the guide. And now I want to show like some examples of matchups that I've done already. So this was my first ever matchup in Battlegrounds. We have this Werewolf by Night versus Bishop, and yeah, Bishop can be very annoying sometimes, but also check that out. I used the SP1 and the Power Sting did like what, 6% of my health, which to be fair, Werewolf by Night does have a pretty high health pool, but that still didn't feel like super impactful, especially given that I'm healing up most of it already. So yeah, I don't know, like I think it is kind of annoying at times for sure, but it also can be managed pretty easily, especially if you intercept often. And yeah, Werewolf by Night is just a monster as well. So this was a very fun fight, and we go back in, drop a combo, and that was like a 49-second fight against a rank 2 Bishop, I believe. So yeah, pretty incredible stuff. Werewolf by Night is just such a monster. Now we have a good Purify option here. Here is Crossbones. My Crossbones is not Max Sig because he's a 7-star, so this isn't like the best Crossbones out there, especially for this meta, but he still does really good here. It was a sketchy start, but once I like got in the loop, it was just really fun because Crossbones is just really reliable at just purifying all the time, but not only that, just straight up shutting off abilities too. So he shut off Photon here, and he also shut off the Pass the Buck node, which is kind of crazy too. So yeah, like he's just insane. Obviously, right? He is one of the best champions in the skill class for a reason. And here I get my overrun going again. I'm at like 10 Furies now, and look at this damage output. We go in 10,000 mediums, drop the relic, go back in again, and yeah, we dropped the SP2, and this was a rank 3 Photon, by the way. Rank 3 Photon. That is insane. That was such a clean fight for a rank 1 Crossbones there. So yeah, we got the win there too, and that is like a really good Purify example. Now we have Mole Man here against a rank 3 Adam Warlock, and Mole Man can't Purify once he's in Frenzy, right? But with that skill node, he purifies every 5 critical hits. And since he is a guaranteed crit champion, he gets that Purify very often. So that's why Mole Man is like honestly one of the best for this node entirely. And you know, I'm pretty biased for Mole Man, but I will admit that I'm not even being biased here. He is just really good for the node. And yeah, I dropped my heavy attack there. Drop it again because why not? We have the Power Sting up. It's giving us free healing at this point, so I can just keep that on me for the time being. Get my intercept going again, pass the Power Sting onto him, get the intercept, and then I drop the SP2. And yeah, that was a 53-second rank 3 Adam Warlock takedown with Mole Man. Give this man his flowers. He is just so good. Now we have this Shang-Chi fight with a Gallon, and you know, Gallon in this meta is pretty annoying because if he like just goes like really happy with his special attacks, he can just get the harvest really fast, and that's just super annoying, right? But some champions have like stun to slow him down, like Shang-Chi does here for example, so I can just use that. I can just try to prevent any special attack at all, which I do kind of well here in this matchup, but it's a close one. There I dropped the SP2, pretty nice damage, a nice 31,000 crit there, and here I blocked the SP2, and you're gonna see why I mentioned that in a bit. So I go back in, drop my other Wushu strikes, and this just does it, because one SP2 is enough to just clean house here, but that blocked SP1 costed me right there, and that just stinks, but it was still such a good matchup. Here we have this Mantis fight, and Mantis with, you know, her Infuriate makes her insane for past the buck because the intercepts are just so free. So yeah, she is just one of the best for this node because of that very good Infuriate. And yeah, here he drops the SP1, no big deal. I go back in, get my Intimidate up, get the combo going into the block, then I do it one more time, charge my heavy attack, and this right here was by far my best ever Mantis fight, and that was like 33 seconds for a rank 2 shocker. How crazy is that? That was just so clean, to be honest. And now we have this Titania fight, and Titania has the Haymaker, right? I still think the Haymaker is the second best ability in the game besides Immortality, and you're gonna see why in just a second here. So the Haymaker is gonna just do some insane stuff, because of course it is. I think Titania might be a top 5 champion in the game at this point. But yeah, watch this. It's a rank 2 Mangog, rank 1 Titania. I know that's a sin because she is just worth rank 3, but ignore that for now. We're gonna go in, drop the Haymaker heavy attack. We have 2 power stings on us, but what happens? Well, you can probably guess it at this point, right? We take 0 power sting damage, we go back in, drop our heavy attacks, and what happens? He just melts all the way down. And yeah, that was rank 2 Mangog in 47 seconds, and Titania is just unreal. But now we have this rank 2 Korg with my rank 5 Namor. And yeah, this one's also really fun because Namor can just reflect the power sting damage, so there is pretty much no worry here at all, and he is just really good for Korg too. And like these Korgs, these skill defenders, they're just Namor food, right? Because skill matchups are his best matchups by far. So yeah, here he drops the SP1, no big deal. The power stings are just free healing right now, so we're chilling. And yeah, this is just looking pretty good for us already. He drops the SP1 again, no big deal, and now it's time for Imperious Rex. So he drops another SP1, that's fine. I go back in, get my Rex up, get my combo going. We have 4 power stings now, so that is a lot of power sting damage, right? However, we're Namor, so look at what happens afterwards. So we drop the SP3, still the best one in the game besides like Atumas maybe, and eventually Orcas, am I right? And yeah, we drop the SP2, we reflect the power sting damage, and now we're just chilling. So we go in for a combo, drop the relic here, and yeah, we're just in a pretty good spot right now. And yeah, the rock shield's down again. I drop my heavy attack into the SP1, a nice 28,000 crit, and that just does it. So Namor took 0 power sting damage, only healed from it, and he just did perfect there. That was such a clean matchup. Now we have this Kushala fight, and this is just like an example of what a normal fight looks like in this meta. And you're gonna see there is kind of just no difference, right? Because this meta, I think, does have its challenges for sure, but for the most part, I think most characters will just be fine with it. Maybe like the champions that do not want debuffs on them, for example Juggernaut, are gonna lose out a ton, but besides Juggernaut, there pretty much is no one to worry about here. So yeah, Kushala still does amazing for her matchups. Any Mystic character besides Juggernaut does really good regardless. And yeah, here I drop another SP2 once I get the intercept, and now he has 2 power stings as well. So this is just going really well. And yeah, he got power stung there, and that just does it. So Kushala, just insane. We barely got that win too. But yeah, this meta, I kind of like it because there is some challenge to it, but there's also some safety to it too. And if you just want to use like your favorite characters, you can, because this meta is pretty much a kind of general one, I feel like. So let me know your thoughts on this meta. I think it is a decent one overall. Not too hard, not like super easy, kind of just in the middle. And yeah, that's about it for me.